Welcome to our vibrant network of governance, risk, compliance, and cybersecurity leaders. We share cutting-edge insights, best practices, and innovative strategies to empower professionals in navigating the dynamic cyber threat landscape. Join Circulo de CISO to ignite resilience and data protection across industries.
Chinthaka, welcome back to continue our conversation on platformization. And in this episode, we would be talking about the challenges. So while it is so popular, everybody feels that platformization is the way to go. Do you see any challenges in adoption? Chinthaka?
Yes, I think from challenges perspective, I see mainly two challenges for businesses to actually adopt platforms. The very first challenge that business has is that you have already invested in some of the products, right? So you might have different timelines where different product expires. Maybe you might have invested for 3 years. Maybe one product might be expiring in next year. So now let's take from persona perspective. Let's take the SOC as a persona. So SOC, let's say right now we need overall 10 products to actually achieve our security requirements and that aspect, right? And then I might have already have 8 products with me, which 2 are expiring now. Now I'm looking for a new product. And then my approach will be, okay, how can I platformize this? How can I platform my SOC so that I can get into the right approach and right strategy in my SOC? So that is the main challenge now, because you have 6 other products which are not expiring now, and it's going to expire in somewhere later, maybe in a year's time or 2 years time, right? So there is a restriction from your side because you can't pay twice to get the same work done through 2 other tools. So that is the first challenge that I see for organizations. How do I actually get into a platform in the first place to adopt that, right? Then the second challenge is, let's say you already invested in a vendor, and then vendor says, okay, you want a EDR, I have a EDR, right? But just because someone is having a EDR, we can't actually invest in that, because we need to look at whether it can actually do the job effectively for me. So that's where we look at EDR example. We will look at Might Attack, how it has it has performed in the Might Attack evaluations, and then how it is being rated by other vendors. And then we might have our own experience and our own testing mechanisms where from experience we have seen a lateral movement attack happening, whether the EDR that I'm going to invest is capable to detect that type of attack. So we have to consider all of these things. So that means we can't just invest in a product just because it is providing a platform. So we need to make sure that it does the job effectively. So we have to understand how well. Also, you might have the products, but then these products need to actually talk together and gel together to actually provide you the benefits of the platform. So these are the main challenges that we have to look at it. And then from overall business perspective, also when we are investing or when we are looking into getting to a platform, we have to look at it from overall strategy perspective, because we can't look at point products and take a decision. So we have to make sure that all the teams to come together as well, because we are no longer operating individually. We are adopting a platform. That means other teams also come together. We need to understand what are the strategic goals that is set by the management, and then we need to convert them into our platform as well. So those are the challenges that I see, that when we are looking at adopting a platform, we need to consider, and then how do we navigate these also is part of that. And then from
Go ahead.
So then we always look at the vendor that we are going to invest as well. We have to do a proper evaluation from platform perspective, what they can bring into the table as well. Because if you look at it from the vendor, the way that things have moved is we are seeing more and more acquisitions that are happening, because not all innovations and technology can be built in-house. So there's bound to be acquisitions. And so we need to look at it, how well these vendors actually do the mergers and acquisitions. What is their strategy around mergers and acquisitions? whether they put up a roadmap where how they can gel in the product well, and what happens to the product they have previously acquired, whether they have done that merger correctly and incorporated that to existing products. And then we have to look at it from their threat intel perspective. What is the threat intel that they have? And then so we have to look at all of these things from vendor perspective, and how will they will actually be able to deliver. And then the other aspect is innovation perspective. So how well can they innovate? How frequently they are doing innovations? Because you can have the product, but if you stop the innovation from there, then it's not going to go forward. So you have to evaluate that aspect as well when you are getting into a platform, because you are placing your trust on the platform and that vendor to deliver you the services. So those are two different angles that I would say we have to consider in getting to a platform.
Very, very well articulated, Chinthaka. I mean, see, the point what I'm trying to reiterate or observed in your explanation is that while platformization is here to stay, sooner or later, organizations will be compelled to transition to a platform, right? So that they would have far more benefits which will outweigh the products which they currently have installed in their environment. So that is one takeaway. While you also mentioned two things which actually caught my attention is that the new risk which it introduces to the organization. One, adaptability of the organization, and then the platform which they are probably subscribing to or adopting could be part of a merger and acquisition program. Maybe at the time of acquisition or sometime later. If it is at the time of acquisition, then you have you have some time to pause and reflect, make a decision whether you want to go ahead or wait. But if, let's say, you have already in the platform and you get acquired, that also gives rise to new operational challenges. Very, very, very rarely we see, the transition like a movie, a scripted, beautiful movie, right? It is not, right? So there's always unforeseen challenges. So I guess those are concerns which the CISOs out there CISOs and the risk professionals should take note of. While yes, the world is moving in that direction, while you do that, these are challenges which they need to take into consideration. So there are so many platforms which are going to be there. Yeah, Chinthaka, go ahead.
So definitely, I think that's one of the key aspects that we need to consider, because we have seen some products get acquired by some vendors and they just die. They stop innovation on that. They don't get integrated to the product. So, and the other aspect to that is, like, we might have the question, what happens to now these traditional vendors or startups that are coming
Absolutely.
up in the platform era? What will happen to them? Where they will go, right? So
Correct.
I always believe startups will do some of the best innovations, because they might come from a completely different angle and they might have put together to solve a specific challenge. So that startups, they are going to exist and they are going to continue to innovate in that aspect. So what will happen is, so end of the day, the goal of starting a startup is to solve a specific challenge, and then I want to take my technology to more consumers so that they get benefit out of that, right? So the platform we have to look at it is that it's actually going to, if you get acquired, let's say, to an existing platform, you're actually going to get benefit of that, because then you can actually take your technology and you can reach more user base in that aspect. So then end of the day, you're actually achieving your goal of solving that challenge for larger user group compared to that. So startups and innovations, they all going to continue to exist, but we will see platforms rising continuously.
Chinthaka, I mean, my takeaway from this episode is that we need to continuously do the due diligence on all our service providers. And I think we should also be looking at what is their future roadmap. Are they have a good vision in terms of innovation to bring new services, products and services, or how do they plan to sustain the ecosystem? So with that thought, Chinthaka, I would like to thank you again for being part of this episode. So the next episode, when we meet tomorrow, we will be discussing how platformization impacts the cybersecurity. So those of you who have not had a chance to watch our previous episodes, you can check them out in our YouTube channel. You'll find a variety of discussions we've had with several professionals on AI, deepfakes, autonomous testing, APIs. So the conversation is vast and wide. So take a moment to check them out, and I'm sure it will be of good use to you. So Chinthaka, see you around tomorrow for the next episode. Thank you.